Welcome to another episode of Bargain Saturdays, and this week I decided to take a look at A Bush Christmas, or as this box basically wants to call it, the Christmas Stallion. And it also likes to advertise that this is Nicole Kidman's first starring role in a movie. A rather debatable claim in my opinion, because she's one of basically 6 main characters. Because you have her brother, their cousin from England, because we have to have an Englishman in there for whatever reason. An Aborigine named Manapoy, I believe, is how it's pronounced. I mean, I'm not the best with names, or even place names in video games and stuff sometimes. I mean, just look at Luminous Arc, the last part I uploaded, which was 14 or 15. Doesn't really matter. There's a town named Jadith, yet I kept calling it Jediath, even after having heard the correct pronunciation at least twice. I still got it wrong. And that was only minutes before I redid the recording because I screwed up the next battle and had to restart because I got game over. A snuff side story there, right? And then you got 2 bumbling thieves, with one of them being named Sly. And I forget the other one's name because who cares? I mean, he's basically the crybaby of the thieves that doesn't have any skills in the Outback, doesn't like being in the Outback, and basically hates bush music, despite being the lead singer of a bush band, because why not? I guess he just wanted to make a quick buck doing something he thought he'd be good at, even if he hated it. Odd choice, I suppose. Imagine most people are like, if I'm gonna make my career singing stuff, I'm gonna sing what I want and what I like instead of singing stuff I hate. At least most people would do that. I guess he's not most people. As far as the movie goes itself, it's sort of strange that's called A Bush Christmas anyway, because Christmas is barely mentioned in this movie. It's so minor a detail that's almost insignificant, really. I mean, the only main purpose Christmas has in this movie basically is to help set what time of year the movie's taking place in. I mean, that's the only thing it really does. I mean, you have some lip service paid to it, but the main plot is about a New Year's race. I mean, seriously, New Year's is more important in this movie than Christmas is. Because you have a mortgage this ranch family needs to pay off, and they need Prince to win the New Year's race. They get the funds they need because their cattle are thin because of the drought, and the years before that there's floods and stuff. So they've been having a hard time making a living as ranchers because of all those issues. So basically, they need Prince to win this race, and the bumbling thieves in the band decide, well, we need Prince to earn us some quick cash. So we're going to have to borrow him for a while, you know. We're not technically stealing him if we give him back eventually. Yeah, I know, that's obviously a lie, but yeah, that's what they're going with. I suppose I can't call them completely bumbling. I mean, they did think to disable their long-range communications and their car and steal their rifle they left out in the open before they took off. So I guess they have some forward-planning skills. Not a lot, but some. I mean, when they get around to there being a rainstorm, instead of finding shelter somewhere nice, they're like, let's just hang out underneath a tree of all things during a lightning storm. You know, an object that's really tall, so lightning's likely to just hit it while we're underneath it, and will be much easier for electricity to pass through, so if it hits the tree, it'll jump to us and electrocute us to death. Yay! As far as the overall story goes, it's got a very predictable ending. So as you can say that about a lot of Christmas movies, because they have to have a very happy ending usually. It's very rare you're probably going to find a sad Christmas movie, because it's much better, as far as the season's concerned, to have a happy ending. So Prince is obviously going to win the race. I don't consider this a spoiler, considering it's pretty obvious. Much like how they're going to have to get Prince back at some point so he can win the race. I mean, I guess that's the real problem I guess you can throw at A Bush Christmas. It's that its story is ultimately too predictable on the major plot points. And the minor plot points are not necessarily always that interesting to the viewer. So I guess you can say it's a rather maybe average movie. I mean, if you're a fan of Nicole Kidman, it might be a must-see just because this is her first major role in a movie. But otherwise, I'd say you're not missing much if you don't see it. I mean, if you like bush music, you might be more interested in it just to have music for a hootenanny. because it really just reminds me of like Southern music for the most part. You know, with their choice in instruments like fiddles or maybe it's a violin. I think there's a banjo too. I mean, I'm not the best with musical instruments either. I mean, there's some instruments in there I'm like, I think I know what this is called, but not really. It doesn't matter. So yeah, I mean, maybe you'll watch it because of the music and stuff, but story-wise, it's got enough going for it to maybe keep you interested, but not enough to get you deeply invested for the whole heartwarming feel. So, I guess if I had to give an overall rating, maybe like 6 out of 10. I know I don't usually number movies, but if I had to give it a subjective value, it's a 6. So it doesn't suck, but it's not good enough to really be considered something you just have to go watch. Until next time, then. See ya.
How many inches to where we're going? About 3? 3 inches? I can't walk 3 inches!